everybody. This is Benna Ken, and we are back from an amazing week last week. We've been talking about it for months, and it finally happened, the 2018 Global TapRooT Summit. And this week, we're winding it up.
We're winding up.
We're kind of washing our hands of this thing.
We are. It was a great summit. I don't want to forget it because we had some great stuff happen there, and it was nice showing all our customers and our friends our hometown, which we don't get to do very often. So it was really cool.
It was so exciting.
It was.
And I feel like I could have had just one day where we just spent time with our clients and our instructors and just, everybody just reunited again.
Yeah, it was really nice. We had our reception
go,
on
go,
Wednesday,
go.
helped a little bit, and we had a dinner there Thursday night, and it was really nice. It was nice seeing everybody.
It was
again.
nonstop.
It was busy. It's always busy during our summit, so it was a great, but it's fun busy. It's a good
It was
time.
inspiring speakers, great breakout sessions. I really do feel like it was one of the best summits we've ever had.
I'm motivated.
I am too, and
Let's
it's a
go.
good thing because we're going to have another one in a year. So one of the things that makes our summit different from a lot of other people's conferences is people go home with tangible things that they're going to do. Things are actually going to put in place after the summit.
That's
and
right.
Our last session is so awesome because we have everybody kind of shares what they've learned at the summit and what they're going to take home. And then people get up on stage and they share, like one from every table get up and they share what their takeaway is going to be.
Right.
And so what we're going to talk about today is what turned out to be like the top 6 takeaways that people had from the summit. So Ken, first of all, what was your favorite part of the summit this year?
I tell you, those keynote speakers were awesome. We had Mike Williams there from Deepwater Horizon. He was awesome.
That was great.
Inky Johnson. He is a bundle of energy, that guy.
And
if you've
inspiration.
Never seen him, he just gets you going at the end of the day. So
And speaking of energy, that Vincent guy.
Yeah, Vincent Phipps, yeah.
He's tremendous.
It just flows out of the room, that energy.
It does.
It's pretty amazing.
Does.
So.
Well, all right. Well, I'm gonna talk about these top 6,
Okay.
and you can just kind of flesh them out a little bit
Okay.
for us. All right.
Sure.
So number 1 was use advanced root cause analysis, TapRooT, for both reactive and proactive investigations.
Yeah, it seems like an awful lot of times companies are so focused on doing investigations. Something bad happens, let's go investigate it. And don't get me wrong, that's important. And sometimes regulatory, you have to go do that. But I think a lot of companies recognize, and that was the top takeaway out of this, is that companies are realizing that you can get a lot more bang from the buck going out looking for those small areas, doing proactive analyses, and go watching for problems and go fixing them ahead of time. There's really no reason to wait until something really bad happens and say, man, we should have investigated that before, we should have prevented that. Using proactive use of TapRooT and investigations was their number 1 takeaway out of this.
And that's what we preach all the time.
All the time.
It's just that, like we talk about a lot, people are busy.
Yeah.
I mean,
you
they
only
come
have so
away.
much time, right, in
you
the
really
day.
do, but it's definitely something that people have realized they've got to make time for.
Yeah, it takes a lot more time to do a reactive analysis after something bad happens
and
than
more
it does
money.
to go and a little more money and problems with your reputation and all the things that go along
And
with that.
potentially
Getting
harming
hurt.
people.
That's right. Somebody getting hurt. So, absolutely.
All right. Number 2 was use an investigation rewards program more effectively.
Yeah.
I'm really intrigued by this one.
Yeah, you were talking about that earlier. How excited you are about this one.
I like rewards.
I do too. Yeah. Unfortunately, a lot of companies, when they assign an investigation to somebody, it feels like a bad thing, and it's usually because something bad has happened. So I recognize it's never a happy situation, but by the same token, it shouldn't be almost felt as a punishment to somebody. It almost feels like, oh man, I've got to go do an investigation. Man, I've got all this other stuff to do, and I've got. My boss isn't going to just say, don't worry about your regular job, so this is on top of everything, and it just doesn't feel like a positive thing to go do. Companies have the opportunity to make TapRooT investigations or investigation processes in general I guess I'll just say maybe less painful.
Mm-hmm.
There's some good things that can come out of these investigations, and having your team get some positive out of these investigations is really important. And there's a lot of different kinds of rewards you can give. I mean, first the first things to do is make sure it's not a negative. So give them the extra time that they need as a company. Give them you know what, you're not going to be here after lunch on Thursday because you're going to be investigating. Hey, I'm going to have somebody else take care of whatever else you were supposed to be doing. Taking the pressure off. You can have make sure you've got enough resources assigned to your team's investigation team. Make sure they've got enough people and they've got a place to go do it. So none of this should be feeling like a negative. When you see that thing show up in your email, hey, we had something bad happen.
Right.
You shouldn't go, oh no, I've got a TapRooT investigation. You should be more, hey, we have an opportunity to improve.
Well, and your company is going to support that. You've got to take yourself away from what you're doing to go out there, and you feel your mind can focus on what you're needing to do.
You're not just broken away and thinking, how am I going to do all this other stuff? Your company is giving you the support, so it feels more like a positive.
So in a lot of ways, rewards could be an emotional support.
Absolutely. It doesn't have to be here's something for the support.
But that's always nice.
It is nice, and there are things that can happen. I know a couple companies, for example, that came out of this is they do a rewards dinner.
Yeah, that's
at
good.
the end of the year.
Yeah.
They do a dinner for anybody who's been involved in an investigation. They do a dinner to
a
show
great
their
idea.
appreciation. So, I mean, there's some really nice stuff that you can do as a company. And one other thing is sometimes investigation teams feel like their management sometimes is critical of the results of their investigation. So managers can try to not be critical. I mean, that doesn't mean don't look hard, but you don't have to be excessively negative about the problem.
Sure.
You say, hey, here's some ideas maybe to improve your investigation, and it's a good back and forth, and it's a team effort. So,
well, I can see how a rewards program could also work well in trying to be proactive. So if you're doing proactive audits, using reward type situations, so that because like we said, people's time is very valuable and very limited, and
we said that's one of the reasons people don't do proactive, because they don't have the time. So having that time available is a reward in itself. Yeah.
All right,
good.
That was good.
Yeah.
Guide their improvement programs through management's use of performance measures and advanced trending techniques.
Woo!
I know.
That's a lot of words in there. That was the number 3 takeaway from as we looked through our customers' takeaways. This is the number 3, and we're really trying to make sure that management has the opportunity to take the results of these investigations and plug them back into their improvement programs. What can I do to ensure that what we found during our investigations are not just fixing this problem, but fixing and improving the entire processes that we have at our company.
Right.
And it's hard to do that if you don't trend the results of your investigations. So the takeaway was really, we need to make sure we're properly trending this stuff so that I can give my manager what he needs to improve the programs.
I bet that one came from somebody who had been in the advanced trending pre-summit course.
It probably was. I don't remember which specifically, but you're probably right. Chris and Kevin were teaching the 2-day pre-summit course on advanced trending techniques, and I'll bet you that's exactly right. That's probably where some of those comments came from. Yeah, there's some good. That was a really good course, I was told. So.
Number 4, proactive improvement that drives improvement success. And we've talked a lot about proactive, but this is basically.
I was thrilled that as I'm looking through this top 6, there's so many people thinking proactive in here. So there's some really good stuff in here that people are realizing, and our customers and our friends are realizing that going out there proactively is
so important.
Is first of all, we're not doing enough of it, and second of all, there's some great benefits to doing it. And this one was specifically talking about taking those proactive results and again dumping those back into our improvement programs to make them even better. So
I love that. I mean, I agree with you. Just seeing that word come up so many times, and just people, because they want to stop things from happening. That's the whole goal.
That is.
We don't want to go investigate accidents.
Well, if you can help it. I mean, we have to, but I'd rather not.
Yeah. Number 5 was develop a leadership succession plan, and we've saw this really important a lot in the last few years.
Exactly. This happens. The reason this came up is that companies normally have a champion or somebody at their management level who helps drive TapRooT and ensure that you've got the right people trained, and like the rewards program we were saying, you're encouraging your investigation teams and they're getting all the resources they need, and that's great from a management side, driving that like it should be. Unfortunately, what happens when somebody leaves or they get promoted, like you said recently, with
a lot of changes in companies.
A lot of changes in companies. And all of a sudden you're an investigation team and you realize the person that was kind of supporting you from above has moved on.
Right.
And now you're stuck. Now what do I do? So it's really important to have ahead of time a plan. So what happens if Mr. Smith leaves? What do I do at this point? And who's going to take over his job? People always think about what's Mr. Smith's job as a is who's going to be reviewing reports and doing the normal stuff that a manager does, but they forget that he's also the TapRooT champion.
Right. He could be the only person who's been to a 5-day.
Exactly.
Do you have multiple people who've been to a 5-day? If something happens to that person, which, anything can happen, whether they leave the company, they get sick,
they get
promoted. Many things, they get promoted. That would be the lovely thing for them. We'd like it to be a good change.
It could be.
But to have those plans in place where when someone leaves, there's not a hole.
That's right, and it's important to have that hole, the plan to fill that hole early.
Yeah,
it's
proactive.
Proactive. Here's that proactive again. It's in here. There's so much proactive stuff in here.
All right. Number 6 was communicate improvement accomplishments successfully.
Yeah.
I heard this a lot.
We heard it. There's from different directions.
Yes.
This came up as number 6, but I think you could roll this into a lot of other ideas too that were coming out. It's important to be able to communicate the results of your investigations and how we're getting better, both up to your management and then down to your employees, and make sure everybody understands that, hey, we did a whole bunch of good stuff here this year. Look at all the investigations we did and all the things we fixed. Look at all the proactive audits that we've done and gone out and looked at things. And sometimes employees, they don't see the benefits because we don't tell them.
Right.
They don't see
or
it.
other departments, other locations. You've done this awesome investigation. You've put corrective actions in place. All these things, the things you've learned, and you've gone out there and you've done all this work, and you come back and nobody hears about it.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows it happened.
And it could be information that stops something from happening at another location.
Exactly.
And one of the things that's so awesome about the people who come to this summit is, everybody's on the same page. Yeah. So it's like nobody's wanting to keep a secret in regards to what can make somebody else better.
Right, right.
Everybody's wanting to share that information, and we got to do that out in the companies too.
That's right. You may have people that are out in different areas and different locations that maybe weren't involved in the investigation, and they just don't know how much success we've been having. And
sharing those lessons learned.
Sharing those lessons learned, and that does a couple of things, but one of the major things is it makes your employees, it makes us all feel like this is worth it, that we're improving, we're getting better, our company cares.
Right.
They're listening to us.
Excellent team building.
Yeah.
And feeling like you're all together.
Yeah.
And so many of our companies, they're scattered out.
These global companies are all over the place. Yeah. So it's nice being able to get that communication in both directions. I didn't really talk about the management side as much, but both directions, getting that communication going so everybody knows what's going on.
I think people got some very important, they figured out some very important things that they're taking back to their companies. These are very valuable.
They really are. Yeah, it was nice to hear I don't know, we had probably 25 or 30 people go up there and give their ideas, and it was wonderful hearing everybody walking off that stage all excited about, hey, this is what we're going to do.
They were excited.
Yeah,
they were
cool.
pumped up.
It was cool.
Yeah, everybody was ready to go home, and it wasn't because they didn't have a good time. It was because they knew they had important work to do.
Yep.
So it really all came together at the very beginning of the summit. People came in and shared with us and the rest of the attendees what best practices they had, and that was tremendous. It's always tremendous. And then comes back to the very last session, right before the last keynote, and then people are saying what they're going to take, basically things they're going to take back home and implement. And it's, I love that kind of circle of how it works so well.
It does. It's really cool to watch. It's really what sets our conference, our summit, apart from a lot of other conferences that I go to. Yeah, it's really good.
Well, I was listening to one of them because we video these and we share them out on our internet, on our website, and throughout the year, so you can check back and see some of the best practices and some of these gap analysis takeaways that we had in that last session. But I was listening to, this one guy, he got up and started speaking, and the guy behind him who was next, he comes up and he goes, "Oh, I'm going to do that one too." He was like so excited, about the one he had just heard before, and then he said his, and it's like, it's just this chain reaction of great ideas.
Yeah. So we figure Mark actually put this list together, and these are the
Great
6 that
list.
he thought would be good for everybody to hear about. So these are on our blog, but we also figured it'd be good to talk about them a little bit. So
All right. Well, guess
Excellent.
what? That's a wrap for
We're
the
done.
summit.
Yeah, that's it. We have another summit coming up in March of next year, which we're pretty. That's going to be cool. That's going to be fun. Just outside of Houston.
I can't wait to go.
Yeah, at a resort there, it's going to be a lot of fun.
I know it's going to be. We like it when we do them at these resorts because the networking is so much better. Everybody just really, they leave not wanting to leave.
Yeah.
So it's great.
It'll be good.
Yeah, it's March 11th through the 15th.
Put that on your calendar.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
we want you to be there. Other than that, we will be back here next week. We will not be talking about the summit. We will be talking about root cause analysis tips, investigation tips, all kinds of general topics. That's what we'll be discussing every week from now till, I don't know, probably for several months before we start talking about things that are going to go on at the next summit. Please make sure you follow us on all of our social media platforms. We got some amazing people in this company who are putting out some great content for you to use to make your programs better. So all you got to do is follow us on these things, and you can find them. It's just out there everywhere.
We're spreading the news,
We're
spreading the word.
We're spreading.
Spreading the word.
I love that. All right. Well, everybody have a great week, and we will see you back here next week.
Sounds great. Bye-bye.
Bye.